There are no magic workouts. There is no magic training intensity that's going to make you way better than any other. Whether that's running easy all the time, going all in on threshold training, or hitting VO2 max intervals all the time. As much as we'd like it to be true, there's not one single answer on how to get faster. Some people might claim there are like optimal training intensities that should be all that you do, but those often come from short-term studies done on untrained athletes. And the problem with those studies is, first of all, short-term studies might last 6 to 10 weeks. That's not really enough of a time horizon to really see long, steady, consistent adaptation. But another big problem is with untrained athletes, there's what's called the clean slate phenomenon, where basically any type of training that an untrained person is going to do will have positive results for them. If you take someone who's never ran before and just get them to run easy all the time, they'll get some good results. But at the same time, if you get them to run hard intervals for a few weeks, they're also going to see some results. And if you look at a short study, 6 to 10 weeks of an untrained person just doing something, the results are going to look great. But we would not see those same results if we had subjects that were well-trained, advanced runners, and we're looking at them for like 12 weeks or longer, like multiple years even. We could get a bigger picture of what actually works, but those studies just tend to be very rare. They don't really happen. So the studies that we're left with can kind of show like, oh, look at this magic training intensity that gets these people way better. The reality in training for anybody who's in the game for a decent amount of time, that's just not the reality. But this clean slate phenomenon affects people even who aren't in a study, just people who are out training on their own. And it can be easy to kind of get caught up in whatever type of training you first started doing. Like for me, that was just lots of easy running. Coming out of middle school into high school, I was pretty new to distance running, hadn't really trained very much, and we just did lots of easy running, which for a high schooler is a good way to start out. But as I grew up and got a lot older, I got stuck in that mindset of just, let's just go all easy all the time, don't worry about anything else. But that easy running bucket had kind of been filled for me. I had hit that stimulus so much that I was starting to stagnate. To avoid stagnation, you have to hit new things. You can't hit the same thing all the time. When you're looking at training for the future, you kind of have to ask yourself, what haven't I done? What have I been missing? And maybe put a little bit more emphasis on that. But really, you do need a little bit of everything. And we've learned this like a long time ago, probably over 100 years ago. Some of the first endurance athletes to kind of combine speed and endurance together, not just one or the other, and put all the focus on that, was the Flying Finns. They're a group of Finnish runners in the 1920s. Paavo Nurmi won 9 gold medals from 1920 to 28, just with the simple idea of combining types of stimuli, not just focusing on one thing all at once. And then Arthur Lydiard in the 60s really honed in on this, having like different phases of training where there was a different emphasis depending on what time of the year, what part of the season they were in. It was not just one thing all the time. There's multiple things going on with emphasis on one thing at a different period of time. And that's kind of evolved to where training is today, where good coaches, good athletes will recognize the need to do a little bit of everything. Throughout a season, training will shift from general to specific, going from on both the speed and endurance side, and then gradually bringing those two together to work on more race-specific work. We don't want to do just the same thing all throughout a phase of training. Not every phase of training, whether it's base phase, pre-competition phase, or your racing season, you won't be hitting everything all the time, but there will be a good chunk of different things that you'll be doing, and then different parts of the season will put emphasis on different things. Where like a base phase, there might be more emphasis on endurance. A pre-competition phase might have like a lactate threshold or speed endurance focus, and then racing phase is a race-specific work focus, but all throughout those periods, those are not the only things that are being done. There's other things that are being done alongside. And as I mentioned earlier, you can put emphasis on certain things that you are lacking. If you feel like your speed isn't very good, maybe you're doing some additional sprint work. If your speed's good, maybe your endurance isn't good, you're doing some extra volume or maybe an extra like aerobic session. Just always trying to work on your weak spot, figuring out what you need a little bit more of and putting a little bit of emphasis on that. And that will shift over time. But no matter what, don't get caught up and carried away just with one training intensity. That's going to lead to stagnation and results that you probably aren't going to be the happiest with. You want to be as well-rounded of an athlete as you can be. You want to be as versatile as you can be. So we've known now for a long time the power of shifting things around and hitting different intensities, not just sticking to one thing. Like the big question for you is just going to be like, what is the right mix of those different ingredients? And the answer is going to be different for every single person. You know, an 800 runner is going to be different than a 5K runner. Someone who's brand new to training is going to be different than someone who's been training for 10 years. You just have to have an understanding of the demands of your own racing and your own training history so you can understand where to go moving forward. And that's going to help you be the best athlete that you can be. And if you'd be interested in some additional resources on gaining some more running knowledge and becoming a better athlete, you can check the links in the description. I've got online coaching, custom training plans, some running education, some courses. There's a free threshold training course for you to check out. All good stuff, just trying to help people achieve their goals, become more knowledgeable, and become better athletes.